Why would you not bring David to a ceremony? Now, this man had come to anoint David. Sorry, to anoint a king. And he said, bring your sons. You say what? He did not know it was to anoint a king. Hello people, you're welcome to another episode of Bible Times with Oluwatomiladé. Today's episode, I'm just going to go right into it. I told in the last episode I'll be talking about David's worst enemies, but I've just decided to give it the full tea. I'm going to be talking about all his enemies from the very first one to the last one. So stay with me. So nobody can say David had an easy life. From when he was young, he's had battles to fight. But the good thing about David is he always wins his battles. Battle against lust. Okay, well, most battles, especially the physical battles, yeah, he did have many battles. He lost, especially spiritual battles later on and all that, but we'll be getting into that later. But right now, I want to look at some of the battles he fought, how he won them, and the strategies he engaged in fighting them. So, enemies, the enemies he fought. We'll be going right into it, and I'll be taking it chronologically. So that means from the first time they appear in the Bible up until the last enemy. The first enemy I'm going to be talking about is David's family. David's family. I say, how now? How was David's family his enemy? Okay, my own definition of enemy is anybody who tries to prevent you from getting whatever God has prepared for you. And his family almost did that to him. Ask me how. Okay, so in 1 Samuel chapter 16, right? God told Prophet Samuel that he had rejected Saul for him to go anoint someone new, and he was to go to David's town. And he got there, the other said, oh, why did you come? He said, oh, I've just come to do a sacrifice. And then he told Jesse, David's father, bring all your sons, all of you clean up, come to this ceremony. And he said, I hear you. And then he came with all his sons minus David. Why? Tell me why. Why would you not bring David to a ceremony? Now, this man had come to anoint to anoint a king. And he said, bring your sons. You say what? He did not know it was to anoint a king. Even if he did not know it was to anoint a king. How would Samuel was the most celebrated, like he's the biggest prophet in the land, like he was literally the voice of God in Israel at that time. How can he come to your house and say, bring your sons? And you do not think that you should present all of them. You should come and tap something. You forgot you had one in the wilderness. And thank God that Prof. Sam had, very good Wi-Fi signal. Otherwise, he would have anointed any of the brothers that were not meant to be, denying David of his royal heritage. But thank God he was able to say, nope. Are these all the sons you have? And I said, well, I have another one. And then they sent for David, and David came, was anointed as king. Shame to all of them, right? But just imagine if that had not happened. David might never have had the opportunity to meet Samuel again and then get anointed as king. If it was God's plan, of course, someone will say, oh, if it's always God's plan, it will have happened. But then it would have taken another turn. There might have been delays, and worst case, it might actually never have happened. So that could have been a very kairos moment in his life, which his family would have prevented him from partaking of. Second time we see his family being his enemy was when Jesse, after he had been anointed, Jesse, his father, sent him to the battlefield. That's when Goliath was threatening the entire Israel, the army of Israel. Sent him to take food to his brothers on the battlefield. And then he got there, he saw Goliath waving, and then he was like, oh, with this uncircumcised Philistines, blah, 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 blah. We know the story. If you don't know the story, go read it in 1 Samuel chapter 17. Anyways, he then began to ask around, oh, what's happening? Who is this person? And all that. Was genuinely curious. He was genuinely interested. He was very angry. Why is Goliath threatening the army of Israel and all that? He's an uncircumcised Philistine. Like, he did not care about his height. He was just like, who is this guy that should be threatening us? We are the chosen people of God. That confidence. But then Eliab, the firstborn, his eldest brother, heard him asking around, and they were like, hey, come on, get out of here. What are you doing here? They brought food. He brought food for them, right? Because he was still a responsible child. He did not say, oh, now they've anointed me as king. Why will I be carrying food up and down? He still brought food for them. His father sent him, he obeyed because he's a good boy. Now, that shows that every other thing that Eliab said after that was a lie, because all of us know David now. David is a gentle, God-fearing boy. He's not somebody like that. You say, hey, you are proud, and you are naughty, and you this. Why? Who did you leave in charge of this? Who did you leave in charge of that? Now, you that you call yourself brother soldier, see Goliath has been shouting since 40 days, you cannot do anything. Somebody is now asking what they will do about him. You are not saying, and you do this. But everybody knows that Uncle Eliab was just a what? It was a kokonsa, as my Ghanaian people would say. It was just a kokonsa, it was just a start. It's just jealousy that is jealousing him because he was there, tallest, biggest, eldest brother, and they chose the one in the wilderness to be anointed as king. If it was you too, it go pain you, Nabi. It go pain you, I know. Sorry, Sorry, don't cry. Anyways, imagine if when he tried to shut David down, David had, cowered and been shut down, ran back to the wilderness to go and cry, they don't like me. He would never have had the opportunity to fight Goliath. And we all know how monumental that fight with Goliath propelled him. Because that fight with Goliath was what made him a national hero, made him a national celebrity, made him, become someone that people began to sing about, wax albums about. Oh, Saul killed the 1,000, David killed the 10,000. That's my own version of the song. Anyways, it was a monumental time in his life. Everybody knows, in fact, that is one of the biggest things we know about David, his fight with Goliath. If you don't know about David and Goliath, I don't know where you are going. Please go and read it in 1 Samuel chapter 17. 1 Samuel is in the Bible. The Bible is a book that Christians use to hear the voice of God, because obviously you don't know anything. Anyways, that's my first gist about David's enemies. First, his family. In the next video, I'll be talking more about some more enemies. Please stay tuned and watch. Thanks, and have a good day. Bye.